Penguin Random House Audio presents The Snap, a novel, by Elizabeth Staple. Read for you by Frankie Corzo. For Arthur. Part 1. In Loving Memory. Red Guillory. Syracuse, New York. Beloved Syracuse Bobcats head coach Red Guillory died on September 30th at the age of 51. Guillory was born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He was a star linebacker at Baylor University, where he earned All-American honors in both his junior and senior seasons. A first-round draft pick by Seattle, he helped the team to 2 conference finals and a Super Bowl before persistent knee injuries ended his playing career. Guillory pivoted to coaching, beginning as a defensive assistant with Seattle before working his way up to Bobcats head coach at age 36. With 2 Super Bowl championships, 3 conference finals, and 7 division titles, Guillory is the winningest head coach in franchise history. Guillory was also a giant in the Syracuse community. Known for his philanthropy, he spearheaded the Bundle Up Bobcats Winter Coat Drive in partnership with W.A.G.S. His annual Red Rover Field Days raised more than $4 million in charitable contributions to Central New York youth sports programs. The entire Bobcats organization mourns the passing of Coach Guillory and extends its deepest condolences to his wife, Lexi, son Connor, and daughter Kelsey. We share our grief with all Bobcats, past and present, as well as the whole of Bobcats Nation. Chapter 1. Now. A frigid October rain beat against my office windows as I read through the team statement again. I was looking for anything that could be given the pull quote treatment or taken damagingly out of context, but it was as benign as it had been on the last 15 reviews. Still, I swapped grief out for sadness. Wouldn't want to sound hysterical. My cursor hovered over the word died. Even as I edited his obituary, it wasn't sinking in that Red Guillory was gone. Over the past 15 years, he'd become such an indelible part of Bobcats football that when he closed his eyes, the stadium should have disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sitting here without him, doing our work preparing for the next game, was like swapping out the sun for a flashlight and pretending nothing had changed. An invisible paragraph hovered, full of stomach-twisting details I wouldn't be putting in the release. That Red's death was being treated as suspicious. That he'd bled out over a period of hours. That he'd surely suffered. "Hi, Poppy." Chloe the intern walked to my desk without poking her head in or pausing at the doorway. She'd been calling me by my first name since we shook hands at her interview, when I'd had to suck my automatic, "Please, call me Poppy," back from mid-air before it humiliated us both. She leaned on the edge of the desk, long, elegant fingers splayed. They matched her pale, waif-like body. A curtain of corn silk hair hung almost to her waist, where the tiniest slip of milk-colored skin flashed whenever she lifted her arms. "I'm on my way down to the press room to set up. Did you want me to change out the background? I could find something black." "Why would we do that?" "Well, you know, the red and the white are kind of bright. Like, for today, with everything." Back when I'd been in Chloe's seat, I would never have made that suggestion to the Director of Media Relations, which, I reminded myself firmly, was the great thing about this generation. They didn't wait patiently to be asked. They spoke up, and that meant their voices were heard. Even when they themselves were wearing winter white pants and an electric teal blouse. I set my face to a soft neutral, my voice to mentorship warm. We want to use the team colors right now because it sets a scene. It visually signals to our fans that we're in this together. This clip is going to be replayed for years and years, so we want something that looks timeless but also brand forward. But mostly, I smiled, the effort of it making my head pound. It's what Coach Guillory would have wanted. Less than 5 minutes after I blasted the statement to our distribution list, the light on my phone blinked. "It's Bernie," called our admin Edward from his desk outside my office. "Got it." As always, I took a moment to prepare. Let my eyes sweep across the top of the bookcase and its miniature skyline of trophies and awards. Focused on the framed feature from Inc. magazine, picturing me in a power suit, arms crossed under a headline screaming, "It's all about Ms. Benjamin." I slid open my desk drawer to peek at the post-it note I'd left for myself that read, "Slow, confident, calm." Then I smirked as I raised the receiver, because it's scientifically proven that expressions can be heard over the phone. "What's the matter? You found a typo?"
"No, it's not about that. Shit, though. I still can't believe it, Poppy."
"I know." A dog barked in the background, and the image of Bernie's home office bloomed. A small room with 70s-style wood paneling near the back of the split level he shared with his wife, Sheila. From his desk, he'd be able to see out to the pool deck where we'd celebrated her Hawaiian-themed 60th birthday.
51. That's a kid. He wasn't sick, was he? He always seemed so robust."
I haven't gotten any details. It was half true. When our general manager called before dawn, he'd been characteristically direct. "Red's dead. Lexi found him this morning. She's saying it's murder, but since her criminology degree is from fucking Blue's Clues, let's keep a lid on that until the adults get there." I knew Asbel well enough to know he wasn't as dismissive of Lexi's theory as he sounded, and he certainly wouldn't waste time having me bury rumors he thought were untrue.
"Listen,"
Bernie was saying.
"I know how petty this is going to sound, and I'm sure you don't want to be dealing with anything extra right now."
"That's correct."
"But Twitter picked up the Raj thing, and my editor wants me to write something on it."
"Seriously? Today?"
"You've met Bob. He's like a face tattoo that says, 'Make good choices.'"
"Okay, well, Raj is a full moron. Maybe clue Bob in on that."
"That's why he wants me to write it. Raj gives great quotes. And your team's 1-3. There hasn't been a lot else to write about. Until today,"
Bernie allowed, with a note of guilt. "Is that why you floated the idea of firing Red last week? Nice headline, by the way. Is it time for a Bobcats Red wedding?"
"I don't write the headlines, and that was a fair article, Poppy. I'll tell you what, though. I have reflux over it. Terrible. The whole thing is terrible."
"Don't be too rough on yourself."
"If you really want to make an old man feel better, what are the odds I can get Raj on the phone?"
"Not great, Bern." I reached for a pile of mail at the corner of my desk and flipped through. Tinged as everything was today with shock and grief, this was my actual job, and it felt good to be doing it rather than figuring out how many buses we'd need to get 200 employees to a funeral. "I've already talked to Raj, and he's apologized to the school. He's going to sponsor their spring science fair where the top prize will go to a project that demonstrates the Earth is not flat. It's a non-issue." A small envelope slipped out the bottom of the pile. It was handwritten with a return address somewhere called Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. My brow creased. I didn't know anyone in New Mexico. I checked the postmark, but it was smeared. And as Bernie went on about clicks and podcast streams, I pulled open the envelope. It gave easily, like it hadn't been properly sealed, and a small paper maybe twice the size of a Post-it fluttered to my desk. The message was only a few words, cryptic little things. Weighed against the more bombastic fan mail, just last week there'd been a 3-page rager on our helmet redesign from someone who'd had the prior version tattooed on his head. It was hardly eyebrow-raising. "I know what you did. Tell the truth or pay the consequences. You have 5 days." It was one out of 1,000 weird letters.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?